It was the kind of moment that turns heads instantly. Red Bull, fresh off the Canadian Grand Prix, walked straight into the steward's office. And not just for a quick chat, they filed a formal complaint. The target, George Russell's driving, behind the safety car. What followed wasn't just any old post-race drama. It became a messy public spat between two of our Formula One's fiercest rivals. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff didn't mince words when asked about it. He called the protest petty and embarrassing. But what made the moment even more striking was how he chose to say it. Red Bull had taken 2 hours after the race ended to file their complaint, and Toto made sure everyone knew it. According to him, the delay alone was a sign the complaint was more of a stunt than a genuine grievance. "They've done this before," he said, clearly referring to a previous incident in Miami. That time, Red Bull also lodged a complaint, then withdrew one of them shortly after. In Canada, history repeated itself. One of the two protests was quietly taken back, the other rejected. Meanwhile, George Russell was celebrating on the podium, soaking in his win. Behind the scenes, Red Bull was trying to have it stripped away. But the more Toto talked, the more it became clear his anger wasn't aimed at Max Verstappen. Quite the opposite. He was careful with his words when Verstappen's name came up. "I don't think Max had anything to do with this. He's a racer. This kind of move doesn't sound like him." It was a subtle yet strong message. If there's blame, it's on the team, not the driver. So now one has to wonder, was Toto just defending his own team? Or was this part of something bigger? Was it about race and integrity? Or relationships for the future? Toto Wolff's words weren't just criticism, they were calculated. By separating Verstappen from the rest of the Red Bull camp, he shifted the spotlight squarely onto the leadership. And that choice wasn't random. Verstappen, during the race, had been clearly frustrated over the team radio. He felt George Russell was playing games behind the safety car, slowing down too much and causing confusion. That radio chatter might have been enough to spark the protest from Red Bull's side. But Toto didn't go after Max. He actually defended him in public. That move didn't go unnoticed. Across the paddock, everyone began asking, why would Wolff go out of his way to protect a rival driver during a time of heated team conflict? One explanation lies in timing. Just a few weeks earlier, Red Bull had filed another protest against Russell in Miami again. That one didn't go anywhere. Wolff sighs. It wasn't just about racing anymore. It was about trying to manipulate results off. "We won fair and square," he insisted, implying that Red Bull was trying to change the scoreboard from the outside, not the circuit. What stood out even more was how Wolff framed Verstappen. While calling the protest baseless, he emphasized that Max likely had no role in the decision. "It's not something he would push for," Wolff repeated. That kind of public support, especially during a dispute, raises more questions than answers. Former Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg wasn't convinced. From his point of view, Verstappen looked furious in the car. "It wouldn't shock me if Max told his team to do something about it," Rosberg said. "He overshot. George hit the brakes. Any driver would be upset in that moment." If Rosberg is right, and Verstappen had a hand in pushing for the protest, then Wolff's defense of him becomes even more interesting. Why defend someone who may have been working to get your own driver penalized? The answer might lie in the long game. After all the verbal sparring, the focus quickly shifted from controversy to performance. In Montreal, while Red Bull was busy disputing decisions and managing their public image, Mercedes was quietly making technical improvements that could change their future prospects. The race conditions were far from ordinary. The track in Montreal was heated to an extreme 50 degrees Celsius, pushing every team to its limits. Under these severe conditions, George Russell managed his tires with an unusual balance of control and speed of performance that was anything but accidental. Mercedes decided to reintroduce a previously tested anti-lift rear suspension system. This configuration had been tried in earlier races but was abandoned after the results were less than satisfactory. However, the team revisited the design, convinced that the issue had not been the suspension itself but rather the way it was set up. They made careful adjustments to maintain overall stability while reapplying this upgrade. According to Toto Wolff, the change was not done on a whim. It was the result of precise calibration and a deeper understanding of how the car's data correlated with on-track performance. The new rear geometry works by increasing the anti-lift function during braking, which ensures that more weight is kept on the rear tires. This adjustment enhances the grip on corner exits and minimizes heat buildup, a crucial factor when tire degradation is a constant threat under extreme conditions. This technical breakthrough is particularly significant because the car had struggled with rear grip problems over the past 2 seasons. The improvement not only helped to stabilize the car, but also offered better temperature control over long stints. With these changes, Mercedes might have finally found the right formula to compete more consistently in a field where every fraction of a second counts. Ahead of the upcoming Austrian Grand Prix, Simone Resta, the deputy technical director, confirmed that additional new parts were on the way. These enhancements are expected to further boost the car's performance. For Russell, now fourth in the championship with 136 points, this development could prove vital. His Montreal victory was not just a moment of personal triumph, it also strengthened his case for a continued future with Mercedes. Meanwhile, the performance of Antelli, who secured a strong finish in third place, underscored that the car was beginning to deliver results, even under pressure. As Red Bull focused on their protest and its fallout, Mercedes was setting the stage for a season defined by engineering precision and relentless improvement. While Mercedes fine-tuned their setup and gathered momentum, Red Bull found themselves tangled in matters far from the racetrack. Their weekend in Canada became less about performance and more about defending a protest that had already fallen apart. And in that environment, the contrast between the two teams became impossible to ignore. While George Russell was making his case as a front-runner with clean driving and strong results, Red Bull's energy was pulled into meetings, media statements, and public scrutiny. That the difference in priorities couldn't have been clearer. Toto Wolff didn't waste the opportunity to highlight it either. His comments weren't just aimed at defending Mercedes, they were crafted to paint Red Bull as a team more concerned with tactics and paperwork than with racing. It was a quiet accusation. While one team was busy improving, the other was busy arguing. And in the world of motorsport, perception matters. Sponsors, fans, and even rival drivers pay attention to how teams behave under pressure. Red Bull's decision to retract part of their protest, particularly the claim that Russell had fallen too far behind the safety car, added fuel to that narrative. Backing down quietly isn't usually how Red Bull operates. So, what changed? Some believe this shift signaled that not everyone in the Red Bull camp was fully convinced the protest was worth it. Perhaps cooler heads saw the risks of pushing too far, not just to reputation but to internal dynamics. After all, if Max Verstappen wasn't fully supportive of the protest, pushing forward might have created tension within the team itself. Toto Wolff saw an opportunity in that hesitation. By defending Max so directly and separating him from the team's choices, Wolff was doing more than just playing nice, he was creating space for trust. He wasn't only speaking to the media, he was speaking to Verstappen himself. And make no mistake, in Formula One, where team shifts and career moves are part of the long game, moments like these can echo for years. This wasn't about one race or one win, it was about setting the stage for the future. Mercedes had something to prove, not just on track but in how they operated as a team. And by turning attention away from drama and back onto development and performance, they were rewriting their own narrative one result at a time. As Red Bull faced media heat and Mercedes quietly gathered pace, the bigger picture of the 2025 season began to shift. The Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just a race, it became a turning point. George Russell's win wasn't handed to him through luck or controversy, it was earned, and that mattered more than ever for a team still recovering from seasons of inconsistency. Behind the scenes, Mercedes had reintroduced a key technical component, their revised rear suspension. It didn't just improve handling, it gave the car the kind of stability and tire control they'd been chasing since the regulations overhaul. On a hot track that historically punished their setups, Mercedes looked composed, calm, fast. For the first time in a long time. They weren't chasing chaos, they were in control of it. Toto Wolff confirmed the team's change in form wasn't accidental. The rear-end upgrades weren't magic, they were well-studied responses to a specific weakness: overheating. By bringing back the same geometry they had previously abandoned in Imola, but now with a refined setup, Mercedes finally saw the payoff. Stability under braking, better temperature management, more confidence on throttle. These weren't just small improvements, they were signs that Mercedes might have finally found direction after years of guessing. Meanwhile, Red Bull had been fighting a different kind of battle: public image, internal decisions, strategic protests. But while they were focused on steward rooms and penalty clauses, Mercedes had shifted gears entirely. They weren't reacting, they were preparing. With upgrades planned for Austria and Russell sitting high in the championship table, the balance of power suddenly doesn't look so one-sided. And as whispers grow about Verstappen's long-term future, Toto Wolff's words from Canada might start to make even more sense. They weren't just about defending a driver, they were about planting seeds that could change the entire F1 landscape by 2026. So while Red Bull continues to carry the weight of being the team to beat, Mercedes is no longer content playing catch-up. They're building something again, not just a faster car, but a smarter strategy, one that works on the stopwatch, and just as well in the politics of the paddock.